Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. Doing it solo for a few minutes here anyway, waiting on Jason Cameron to join us, but get a few things out of the way before he comes in and helps us break down the weekend of sports. Hope you guys are having a good start to your week so far. Yeah, the weather has cooled off a little bit here, which is actually a welcome uh, a welcome thing to happen. So anyway, yeah, this is going to be a fantastic podcast. Can't wait. Tons of sports are happening. It's a kind of a weird place in the sports calendar when the NBA finishes, the NHL finishes. There's a little lull there. The NFL hasn't kicked in yet. But turned out to be a pretty busy weekend, and it's just going to get busier going forward. This is Olympics week, so very excited about that. A lot of people say, oh, it's hard to start getting into the Olympics, but once you start watching the coverage, it's hard to not get into it. Seeing all these athletes compete from all over the world, just a lifelong dream for them. Some people spend their entire lifetime and make one Olympics, and that's it. Some get to multiple, but it's an incredible athletic achievement, and it's so nice to witness. And the broadcasters do such a great job giving you insight into their lives and what it took to get there, and a lot of the trials and tragedies and tough times they've had to overcome to achieve their dreams and get to the top of the mountain. So yeah, can't wait for that. NFL training camps, five of them have started, a bunch more tomorrow, and the rest will begin on Wednesday. So we're getting lots of NFL stories, a lot of stories about guys holding out, guys trying to get new contracts, some of the ins and outs of new guys on new teams, and yeah, so far a lot to talk about. So I'm pretty excited about the NFL finally coming back. Over the weekend, though, we had some big events, early starts, so had to record them and watch them later. The Open Championship happened over in Scotland. Second straight week, a lot of the top golfers were in Scotland. They got the Scottish Open done last week, and Robert McIntyre won it on his home soil, which was fantastic to see him achieve that lifelong dream. And then they just moved a little bit across the country and went to Royal Troon and had the tournament. And yeah, one of the most bizarre tournaments I ever remember seeing. The first two rounds, I just couldn't believe how many golfers were missing just the tiniest, shortest little putts, and they're in the middle of the fairway, and it's 100-yard shot. They got a wedge in their hand, and they flare it left, flare it right, hit it into the bunker. Just I couldn't believe how many poor shots were being made by the top players in the world, and I think it was they said 29 of the top 30 players, no, 49 of the top 50 players in the world were there, and almost all the players that are top of the game right now. First two rounds were ugly as hell. Third round was one of the ugliest days I've ever seen. Guys were just having a terrible time out there. The wind was brutal. The rain was coming down, and everybody was shooting high over par. Luckily on Sunday, the elements weren't so bad. It was still windy, but not rainy, and guys could actually play pretty decent. Xander Schauffele just came together. It seemed like I think it was about the 11th hole, maybe even later than that, maybe 14th hole. No, it must have been about 11th hole, and he shot 6 under from there. Ended up getting a 6 under 65, won the Open by 2 shots. His second major of the year. So Yeah, thrilled for the guy. Incredible for him to no, win his first major this year at the PGA a couple months ago, get his second major already, and really push Scotty Scheffler for Player of the Year with this. Also, he's going into the Olympics as the defending Olympic champion. Olympics starting in, I don't think it's this weekend, but next weekend for golf. This weekend for the rest of the Olympic events, or many of the Olympic events are starting right away, but I think golf goes the following week. So, yeah, he's on top of the world. His family was amazingly happy. For some reason, his dad wasn't there when he won the PGA Championship. So he said it was so thrilling that he got to share it with his dad. And they asked him what he's going to drink out of the claret jug, the trophy that you get for winning, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to leave it up to my dad." So, didn't hear today what they were drinking out of it, but I'm sure they partook quite a bit in the celebration. And yeah, it was great tournament, awesome to see, but man, it looked tough. Yeah, those major tournaments are tough, and not too many of the top players anymore play over in Europe, so a lot of them are not used to those links courses, used to the types and conditions. Billy Horschel has been one of those guys, American, that goes over there the most and plays. So he had played really good, had the 54 hole lead, a one shot lead going into it. Had a pretty decent day, but made a couple of bogeys and just couldn't get it done for his first major. But this is the first year since 1982 that all four majors were won by Americans, and they've won seven straight now, seven straight major championships. So Americans are, yeah, really taking over the top of golf and winning these big tournaments. That doesn't bode well for the President's Cup that's coming up in Montreal in September. Mike Weir has to pick a team, and I think six golfers automatically qualify. He has to pick another six captain's picks. There's speculation that there'll be three, maybe even four Canadians on this team, but with these Americans playing so incredibly well in these high pressure tournaments, yeah, it might be tough, and it might be a U.S. Landslide victory. The Ryder Cup, Europe has really done very well, especially on European soil, but the President's Cup has definitely been more U.S. winning that. And yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I also mentioned that there was something happening early that was happening over Europe, actually in Bulgaria. Oh, no, sorry, in Hungary. The F1 was racing, and we had a really crazy race. It will be remembered for a few very interesting things, especially McLaren ended up having kind of a fight. They qualified on the front row, the pole position, and second P2 on the grid track. First, the corner basically, Oscar Piastri in second place ended up taking over first place. But about halfway through the race, Lando Norris ended up taking over first place and had first place for a very long time. And they kept having us listen in to the talk between his team and the car. And they just kept saying to him, "No, you got to let Oscar Piastri past you. Piastri is going to take over first place." He fought it for maybe 25, 30 laps, a long, long time, and kept saying, "No, I wasn't going to do it." And he didn't flatly refuse, but he was, trying to negotiate and bargain with them, and they finally convinced him, sort of guilted him into it, I guess, in a lot of ways, and he had to pull over and let his teammate by. But McLaren finished 1-2. It was great. I didn't think it was a smart move because he's the second place in chasing for the championship. Max Verstappen is first. That actually cost him 7 points that he could have had closer to Max. Max has still got a pretty damn commanding lead. But this is a crazy year. We talked about Max in the early part of the season, and it just seemed like he was winning every week. He did win seven races early on, but There has been seven different drivers to win on the F1 season this year. So it's really are starting to get a lot of parity to it. McLaren caught up quite a bit in the constructor standings, so Red Bull's being pushed like they haven't in the last few seasons. And yeah, we'll see. Max Verstappen, they kept commenting that he had stayed up late on the sim practice car. He had stayed up till 3 in the morning, woke up super early, got back on it, and you could tell that he seemed like a cranky kid. He was very angry, ornery every time they were talking to him on the radio. He was just sounding like a little belligerent kid, and it was just unbelievably frustrating. And I actually cheered when he got knocked out off the track. He cut off Lewis Hamilton in a bid to try to overtake him for third place, locked up his brakes and cut off Hamilton, ended up bouncing over the top of Hamilton's car and forcing himself out wide, got passed by a couple of drivers and ended up in fifth place after it all. And he deserved it. He was acting like a real jerk the entire race, and it was getting really frustrating to just think that he was doing it because of lack of sleep. And he's never, been great on the radio for the most part, but this was just an extra, sounded like a spoiled brat and was just acting that way. So, yeah, hopefully he learns his lesson there, and yeah, we'll proceed. But yeah, the F1, this was their 13th race out of 24. So they've just passed the halfway mark. They will be racing coming up this weekend. They're going to the Belgian Grand Prix. And yeah, so it'll be neat to see if McLaren can keep it up. Great in qualifying, great in the race, finished 1-2 on the podium. Lewis Hamilton, his 200th podium of his career. So amazing career to see. He's only got another 11 races to go for the Mercedes team before he moves over to Ferrari for next season. So anyway, that was it was fun. It was fantastic to watch. Very exciting and but yeah, very bizarre the way it ran there. After after the Indy race left Vancouver, I got a bitter sour taste in my mouth. I wasn't happy with the way Vancouver was treated and the race taken away. I stopped following the sport, for the most part. But we only get one race in Canada now every year, and that's the Toronto Indy. This weekend was their race, so I did tune in and definitely watched all the highlights. Watched some of the race, but watched the highlights. And um, Colton Colton Herrera. Let's see. He let me see here. Where's the details about him? He went out and did something that no driver has ever done in the 28-year history of the sport. He swept all three qualifying windows with the fastest time out on Friday. Then he went on Saturday, got the pole position for the fastest time in qualifying there. And then in Sunday, he ended up winning the race, swept the entire weekend there, and an absolutely impressive performance. Colton Herta, I don't know why I said Herta. Colton Herta, son of a driver there for many years. It was great to see him win. He hadn't won since May of 2022. Michael Andretti's team was able to get the top two positions on the podium. Kyle Kirkwood finished in second place, and he was able to beat Scott Dixon, who finished in third. The other big takeaway was something that was actually pretty brutal. There was a crash by Patty O'Ward, and um, he crashed. He ended up coming around a corner, spinning and crashing backwards into the fence. Another car came along and crashed into the side of him, and there should have been an immediate yellow, if not red, because a couple of cars came around that corner, missed him, but then two more came, crashed into him badly. One of them went over him. The second one launched right over the top of his car. It flipped the car up in the air, crashed into the fence, flipped him back down onto upside down onto his head, and yeah, it looked horrific. Debris everywhere. I think four cars all total hit O'Ward while he was just in place there. I can't believe that they wouldn't put an immediate red or at least a yellow so everybody would slow down and not cause this. Thank goodness, no injuries, nobody got killed, nobody got hurt badly, I guess. And thankfully, that was the case. Yeah, 13 laps to go. This happened. It ended up getting cleaned up. It took quite a while because there was debris everywhere and cars on the track that they had to take over. Santino Fercucci was the car that crashed, flipped upside down, and so happy to see him walk away from the crash. But something that they better investigate. They better stop from doing. O'Ward could have been hurt. These other drivers that crashed into him could have been hurt. It could have just been a seriously tragic, day. And yeah, I was not happy and not impressed to see how that played out. Also, there was some teammate drama a little bit later once the race did get started. Scott McLaughlin was racing along and all of a sudden got crashed into by his teammate Will Power, pushed Scott into the barrier fence on the side, completely totaled his car. He couldn't continue. He fell down into last place, 16th place. There had been a few cars already retired from that previous accident, and Will Power ended up finishing second. There was some serious frustration and a lot of anger as yeah, McLaughlin said, what the hell was that? And not good at all. Yeah, but Michael Andretti was super thrilled. The longtime driver was able to have his team 1-2 on the podium. Herta ended up leading 80 of the 85 laps, and as I said, got his first win since May of 2022. A 41 race drought for him. So great. Nice to see the Indy doing very well and getting an opportunity to race in Toronto still. I sure wish it was here. Had a blast every time it was here. So yeah, missing that. Okay, we're going to talk to Jason once he gets in here briefly about the Olympics, briefly about the NBA. We had the NBA Summer League come to a conclusion this evening. The Miami Heat ended up beating the Memphis Grizzlies 120-118 to improve to 6-0 in the Summer League. Get the trophy, get the rings. Pretty nice rings. Great trophy, nice rings. This was a highly contested game, and yeah, some big stars that are emerging prospects and rookies playing. So yeah, it was fun. We'll talk about that briefly. Sticking with basketball, the CEBL is getting into their final week. The Vancouver Bandits won their last home game on Thursday, 103-92 over Winnipeg. Mitch Creek, the recent pickup that we've talked about last couple of weeks, led the way for the Bandits with 26 points. Tajay Moore had 21 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. And they're playing their final three games. Vancouver finished their home record 9-1 out of the 20 games. They sit 12-5 in first place in the West. Their next game goes Thursday in Brampton. They play the Honey Badgers there. Brampton's having a tough year. They're only 6-12, so Vancouver should be able to take care of business there. Then they play Scarborough the following night. Scarborough is doing well. They're sitting second in the Eastern Conference at 11-7. And then their final game of the season is on the weekend. I guess Thursday, Friday, Sunday they play. They play Montreal at Lions, and they're 4-14. And I don't know if Vancouver's going to stay out there because that's where the playoffs take place in Montreal. Vancouver, I think, is guaranteed a playoff spot for sure. Could I think just with a single win, um, possibly to wrap up the West. Edmonton sits behind Vancouver in second place at 12 wins, 7 losses. They only got one game left. We'll see what happens with them. Calgary sits third, 10-7. Does not look like they'll be able to catch Vancouver at this point. Vancouver 3 games to go and 2 very winnable games, it looks like. Over on the eastern side, Niagara sits in first, 13-6. As I mentioned, Scarborough is second at 11-7. And then the rest of the division over there, they're all under 500. Ottawa sits in third, 7-10 so far. So, but yeah, great year. Got to go to a handful of games for the Bandits. It was fantastic. Hopefully they can win all the rest of their games and then go on a big run in the playoffs. And yeah, we can see them hold the championship. Yeah, the NBA Summer League. It's hard to watch at times, but nice to see a lot of prospects finally getting some time in front of crowds and getting to know some of their younger teammates. Loved Dalton Knecht, Reed Shepherd. Wow, he took a massive step up. Ime Udoka is going to have to get him on the court in Houston quite a bit. Zach Edey, he didn't play the last game, but was really dominant in his play. There's been some criticism that they didn't think his game could translate to the NBA game, but I thought he looked great. I thought he looks very dominant, and I think he's just going to improve on and on. Jared McCain got known on social media. I think he has 3.6 million followers on TikTok, another 3-4 million on most of the other platforms. Very well known there, and he has game. I was impressed with what I saw from him. Rob Dillingham, saw him, as I mentioned. Some of the other guys. Jalen Wilson from the Brooklyn Nets. He ended up getting MVP of the Summer League, 22 points, 4.5 rebounds. He shot 47% from the field and 55% from three. Usually don't see guys shoot even higher percentage from three than they do from the floor. So pretty awesome. Pelle Larson hit the game-winning bucket for Miami tonight to give them the 120-118 victory there. And as I said, a really fantastic trophy, and it was neat. It was pretty neat to see. Okay, it actually looks like Jason Cameron is logging in, so I'm going to pause for a quick second.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, we're back. Jason's in the house. We saw him briefly before it paused. Glad to see him. Late night, unfortunately, for this guy, so we're gonna have to cut him loose soon so he can get to bed and get ready for a big day of work tomorrow. So, good to see you, man. Hope you had a fantastic weekend and you were able to get rested up for this long day you had today.
Yeah, weekend was good. Was actually super busy. I had a friend come in. A buddy of mine's older brother came in from Puyallup with his son, which was good to see him. And it was good to see his son because I haven't seen his son literally since COVID. So it's been about 4 years. So
Wow.
he's grown quite a bit within those years,
Of course.
really. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was cool to see son Malachi and then my buddy Graham, and we got together, we managed to catch up, talk. But
Cool.
then later on that evening, it was another friend's birthday, and so we had drinks and food to eat at Mahoney's on Falls Creek. So that was really nice. That was
Awesome.
cool. That was fun. And then Sunday was just day of recovery. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you got some socializing and fun in, and then got some rest. That's always key for both. Be able to come into the week fresh and in a good mood. So,
Yeah.
okay, as usual, busy weekend. We had a couple weeks ago where it was pretty slow. When the NHL season, the NBA season finishes, there's no NFL yet. We hit a bit of a lull, but suddenly it started kicking back in. This weekend we had some UFC. We have the starting to open up the training camps for the NHL. We had a lot of summer league basketball. We've got golf. We've got F1. Lots of racing. Lots of crazy stuff. But just before you came on, I was actually talking about the NBA Summer League. I watched the final game tonight. It was between Miami and Memphis. Both teams had gone 5-0 in the Summer League, had advanced through the semifinals and had made the finals. And tonight's game ended up turning out to be a super terrific game. I don't know if there's any money on the line. I actually was thinking I should check that out, but really nice trophy and really nice rings that they get for the whole entire team. Get these really nice rings. They look like championship rings almost, not as gaudy and as expensive, I'm sure, but they sure looked nice. And it was highly contested. It went into overtime. And they also have that target score like they have in the
Yeah.
CEBL.
Yeah.
So it was 113 heading into overtime. Ended up Miami scored the winning bucket by Pelly Larson. Shot it over Scottie Pippen Jr., got the bucket, won 120 to 118. And big celebration on the court. Miami seemed very genuinely happy to get the win.
Now, am I surprised that Miami won? No, I'm not,
No.
because they have superior coaching and they've had superior coaching for quite some time. Eric
Right.
Spoelstra's staff are they're some of the best in the NBA. So I'm not surprised that they won that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they had a lot of great scoring, very balanced attack. Um, Josh Williams, he had 21. What is his name here? Oh, Kalel Ware, he had 21 points. Uh, Sandler had Seidler had 19, and he hit the three-pointer late in the fourth quarter to uh, push that to overtime. As I mentioned, Scottie Pippen Jr. He ended up having 29 points, had a really fantastic game. Then they have Jake LaRavia. He had 28. GG Jackson ended up with 28 as well. And yeah, wow, a really talented team, super great prospects, and both these teams are going to really be able to do well for years to come if they've got this many good young players already in the pipeline.
Yeah, absolutely. If they obviously they're doing something proper with their development of their young players, because this matters to them,
Yeah.
because that's success for them. And so success for these young players means possible playing time in the league.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty key. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So yeah, the two semifinals were really good too. Memphis ended up beating the LA Clippers 99-98, and Scottie Pippen Jr. led the way. He had a triple double that night, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. And then the other semifinal, Miami beat Golden State by a bucket, 102-99. Larson led the way there, the guy that got the winning bucket again tonight. And yeah, yeah, it looked fantastic. As we mentioned last week, some of the guys that stood out to us, Dalton Connect, Reed Shepard, fantastic tournament for both those guys. Zach Edey, I really liked what he brought to the table. I thought he was good with Memphis, and I think he's going to fit in super well there. They needed him badly, I think, to go beside Jaren Jackson and be that force inside. I really like the games from Jared McLean. He's well known for having a massive social media following, but he has game. He actually played super well. Rob Dillingham played great, and the MVP of the summer league ended up being Jalen Wilson from the Brooklyn Nets. He averaged 22 points, 4.5 rebounds, shot 47% from the field and 55% from three there. So Brooklyn's obviously thrilled to bring him on board.
Yeah, that's scorching shooting from that guy. Like that is super impressive.
I know.
55% from three is really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, so summer league's done, and yeah, we've got a long wait for the NBA, but we don't have much to wait for the NBA players that have made the Olympic teams. U.S. Has had their struggles a little bit in this qualifying exhibition tournament heading towards Olympics. Canada is fielding the team with the most NBA players outside the American team. Canada has 11, I think 11 NBA players, NBA people with at least NBA experience. And um, as I mentioned last week, US is heavily favored, but Canada comes in as the second favorite. France is third and Serbia is fourth. Um, US really freaked everybody out, though. They were down 16 points to South Sudan and had to utilize the 39-year-old LeBron James to get them with to the victory. He was able to squeak it out, and they won by 1 point there. South Sudan has actually only been a country for 11 years, and this blows my mind. They do not have an indoor basketball court in their country. There's not even one indoor basketball court in their country. And as we were heading towards the Olympics, they were saying U.S. might have a little bit of an unfair advantage having South Sudan in their group because they're probably going to blow them out. And the way of determining ties and stuff is by point differential. And so they said, they were favored by 43 points going into that game, and they only won by one. So there might be a little bit of panic there because they're not dominating the heck out of teams like they're supposed to.
I think they took it for granted that they should dominate that team.
Right.
But I think what they found out about that team is that team's got some real grit.
Yeah.
It's like you guys have everything given to you. You have all the money and everything in the world, and we don't have that. But that's fine
Yeah.
because what we do have is grit,
Yeah.
and we will fight you to the bone to try and get a win against you,
Yeah.
just to show that it's possible. It's
Sure.
possible, and it's not the be all and end all. Like there was a great story about Luol Deng, who's actually really the headmaster of
Head
the
guy.
South
Yeah.
Sudan
Yeah.
team and putting it together and the management and all of that. Just the fact that they've come that far and they
Yeah.
pushed that team to that extent, I think that goes to show just how much work he's put into the team. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's a great
Yes.
thing.
Oh, it's super cool. Yeah, it's amazing to see David go up against Goliath and, actually compete and have an opportunity there. And I hope they have a great tournament and do really well. The U.S. did play another exhibition game today against Germany and had to utilize LeBron James again to squeak out a 92-88 win. It's amazing that that old man is still the guy that they're giving the ball to in crunch time and saying, we need the win. You got the ball. Go for it. It's incredible that he's still the guy.
Yeah, and it's awesome that everybody knows it. Everybody on Team USA knows it because guess what? He can still deliver, and he's still the man.
Yeah.
Still the man at 39, and it's unquestioned on Team USA. It's
Yeah.
unquestioned.
I think US is definitely missing Kevin Durant, who hasn't played any games so far.
Yeah.
I don't know, how serious this injury is, but it's kind of surprising that he hasn't got any time whatsoever. I think that's got to worry Steve Kerr and some of the people that are putting this team together because he's such a key piece for them to have success.
Yeah, and also too, he just makes the game easier because
Yeah.
like that's a scoring machine right there. And I'm sure LeBron can't wait for him to get back. So he's like, oh, I don't have to carry the team anymore. This is great. This is fantastic.
Yeah. As we mentioned, Team Canada a little bit. Absolutely love their backcourt. Seeing Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who was second in MVP voting this past year, fourth in scoring. Um, sharing the backcourt with Jamal Murray, who took a leap, very big leap when he was able to help Denver win the title a couple of seasons ago. Man, that backcourt should be just phenomenal to watch for the Canadian team.
Yeah, yeah, because they know how to win. And Shea is on the up. Like you could argue that he's top five in the league. He's one of the top five players in the league. And Jamal Murray is clutch. He's Mr. Clutch. So I love Canada's chances against the U.S. when it really comes right down to it. This is the best team that we've ever fielded, so we have a good shot at winning gold.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the forward group. I'm a big fan of Lou Dort. His defense is phenomenal. He's able to actually chip in with scoring as well. Dylan Brooks, don't really love the guy, but he brings a really good element. Makes a lot of teams hate him, and can play fantastic defense. Really, one of those shutdown guys that Canada has been lacking for most of its basketball history.
Yeah, he's an antagonist and a pest.
Yeah.
Tough to play against. He's one of those guys that you love him on your team, you hate to play against him. Absolutely hate to play against Dylan the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I watched some of France the other day, and the front court of Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama on home court in France is going to be very tough. It's going to be very intimidating, and it's going to be very tough to break through that wall. The top two defensive players this past year, and I don't know how you score in the paint against France. And on their home court, they're just going to be, that much more motivated to do really well.
Yeah, it's they're gonna have to be very crafty and selective on what they do when they go into the paint because you may get past one of those guys, but you're gonna get past the other guy. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's
Yeah,
gonna be really tough sledding getting in there scoring.
yeah. The Canada will play Greece on July 27th. So I think that's Saturday. Australia on the 30th and Spain on August 2nd. Those are the first three games for the Canadian men's team. The women's team play France on the 29th, Australia August 1st, and Nigeria August 4th. And yeah, it should be fantastic. Olympics start actually. Some events start on Wednesday.
Oh,
Canadian women's soccer team actually kicks off on Thursday. The opening ceremony is not till Friday, but there will be some events that already start on Wednesday this week. What are you looking forward to the most for this Olympic Games outside of the basketball that we've already talked about?
I've always been a big fan of the 100 meter and the 200 meter, the
Yeah.
sprints, 100, 200, 400. Those are the ones that I've always enjoyed watching, whether it be men or women. I will definitely be tuning into both.
There's some new sports this year that they're putting on to the roster, and yeah, I bet you in your day you probably could have won a medal in some of them. I think break dancing, I would peg you as on the podium. Do you think you could have done that if the Olympics were around about what 30 years ago?
Oh my god, man! Could I have ever? Could I have ever? Oh
Nice.
my goodness! nothing less than a silver, that's for sure. But yeah, nowadays, yeah, not so much, not so
No.
much.
The other sport I thought for sure you'd be fantastic at that's coming in this year is surfing. I bet you, yeah, you were for sure riding some of the massive waves and coming in, hanging 10, doing flips and tricks. And, it would have been pretty dynamic to see. I'm really sad and disappointed it wasn't around when you were, getting into your late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, yeah. All I would have had to do is get over my phobia of water, and yes, could have killed it. Could have.
Yeah. Um, our one of our truck coordinators is a climber, and they have for the first time in the Olympic history sport climbing, and
Oh,
so it'll give you something to talk with Jenny when you go to work this coming week, and ask her if she's going to watch the sport climbing in the Olympics this year.
first off, I didn't know that. I didn't know that she was actually into climbing and stuff like that. And then also too, that is actually kind of cool
Yeah,
because um, as we all know, climbing like that is really hard, and then climbing fast and having to find the handholds and know exactly how you want to approach it.
yeah.
That could be that sounds like that could be a lot of fun to watch.
I think it's gonna be fun to watch. Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched some of the 100-meter trials, and wow, some very, very fast times. Saw some incredible. That's always definitely one of my favorites as well. One of the other sports that they said they're going to try is skateboarding, but I did watch skateboarding in, I believe, last Olympics. I think it was in Tokyo, and they didn't have any fans there because it was still coming out of COVID and stuff. But I don't know why they're calling it one of the new sports. Did you watch any of the skateboarding last time it was in?
No, I missed that, but I did know that it was they did put that in there. Also, too, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're doing 3-on-3 basketball too as well
Oh yeah,
for the Summer
that's
Olympics,
true. Yeah, that's great.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome. That'll be fun.
yeah, that should be awesome. I know that I heard one of the guys that's going to be on the team, which is Jimmer Fredette of college fame. He's going to be one of the guys on the USA team, and he was going into
Bless you.
detail about how it is and like how different 3-on-3 is played as opposed to 5-on-5. I'm very interested in seeing that and how that plays out as well.
Yeah, big time. I saw some projections. They think Canada's going to win around 20 medals altogether. We're expected to win about six gold and hopefully a big silver from that basketball team. I don't
Yep.
think anybody's going to beat the Americans, but I hope that we can get silver. That would be fantastic. We've only won one medal in basketball from Canada. It was in 1936. We won a bronze.
Nice.
So it's been a while. It's been a while. America, US is supposed to dominate as usual. They're projected to win between 90 and 95 medals and or is that medals? No, maybe it's even higher than that. 100 and something medals and yeah, it's going to be insane. Usually uh in previous games Russia has sent about 335 athletes. That's how many they sent to Tokyo. This year they're sending 14 and they will not be affiliated with Russia at all. They'll be called the uh, independent athlete, and they're called a athlete independent neutral. That's what they're called. So they won't be able
Wow.
to display their Russian flag, have the Russian anthem. They will just be neutral. They're not allowed to march in the opening ceremony, closing ceremony, or anything like that. Good to see those cheating bastards not in the games, but it will inflate US and China and a lot of those top countries that dominate every year. So Americans are going to be very happy and thrilled, winning a massive amount of medals.
Yeah, yeah, because they're going to take advantage of that. And Russia, that's right. They have an embargo. How long is that supposed to last for? Like, is that
until
supposed to
they
be?
until they get out of Ukraine.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so that's going to be for a while. Cool. Good.
yeah, that's pretty much why they did it. They had been banned from many athletic competitions because of their drug policies and a lot of their issues with drug doping, but they have been banned this year because of the war in Ukraine.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense, and that's absolutely what should be happening with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I'm glad that they've done that and made them yeah, forced them out of it. They did not deserve to be there and yeah, it's good for the sport. I'm trying to find no, I'm not finding it, but I thought I had the list. Oh, maybe that's where it is. I had the list of the countries that were uh,
uh-huh.
let's see, there were oh, how many medals they were projecting for the U.S.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're projecting 123 medals for the U.S. and 92 for China. Um,
Ooh.
that's what they're thinking will be. In 2020, the U.S. won 113, China won 89. U.S. had 39 gold, 41 silver, and 33 bronze. China had 38 gold, 32 silver, and 19 bronze. And yeah, it's Japan was fourth, Japan was third, Great Britain was fourth in the Tokyo Olympic medal count. So but
Okay.
yeah, it's crazy when you see the projected medal winners for the U.S. It's just almost every competition, almost every single thing that you can think of. They've got so many athletes in. Every country in the Gulf is only allowed to send two, but the U.S. has four in there because they have the number one, number two, three, and four in the world,
Yeah.
and yeah, crazy things. So yeah, we're gonna hear the American anthem a lot, and if you ever watch any of the Olympic coverage from the States, it's American centric. So it's gonna be just jammed down our throats how awesome they are. But yeah, it'll be fun to watch. It's gonna be a fun Olympics to watch.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be cool to see just how dominant the US is going to be and just how many. Like, actually, I'm going to ask you, do you think they'll get over 120 medals?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah,
Man, that's a lot, man.
yeah,
That's such dominance.
yeah,
But obviously, that it helps that Russia's not even a part of it. So yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
Okay, speaking of the US, what do you think of Biden pulling out?
Yeah, 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 no brainer.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it like this. No shit. The guy doesn't know where he is half the time.
yeah.
A lot of the times when he talks, there's a bunch of gibberish or gobbledygook. That's what I like to call that. I don't even like it. You could tell sometimes where he's looking into the camera and it's like, oh, there it goes. He doesn't know where he is. And I was just talking with my partner, my new partner, Lucas, that I work with, and he said, Jason, I swear I saw him on the podium. And you know how you can make that face when you're going to the bathroom?
You poop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like he made that face like, oh, I pooped myself, pooped myself.
Yeah, yeah, I heard that. I heard that from somebody else said, yeah, they saw him poop his pants right on the stage. And yeah, so yeah, I'm glad that he pulled out. Yeah, it was starting to become really scary and embarrassing. And as we mentioned last week with Trump getting shot in the ear and then putting his
Yeah,
fist up with the
yeah,
flag behind him, suddenly everybody's like, wow, my president is a badass. Let's get
yeah.
him in there. I thought, uh-oh. Now Biden's even in more trouble. So hopefully they can find a candidate that can go up against Trump and it'll be a fair fight here.
Okay, first off, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. Dude, like Trump he's now a gangster. Now, real gangster.
Yeah,
He
right.
his
Yeah.
theme song when he walks out is "To Many Men," 50 Cent, and everybody goes, "Yeah, that's right. That's who he is now, right?" It doesn't matter who the Democrats try to trot out because yes, they're getting Biden into an old folks home where he should have been probably a couple years ago.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's out. Whoever they decide to push in, yeah, good luck. Good luck
Good luck.
beating the guy that didn't die by an assassin's bullet.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
No,
Brutal.
not happening.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get back to the sporting world, which is a lot better to talk about. NFL training camps opened. A few of them have already opened, five already, a bunch tomorrow, and the rest of the 32 will happen on Wednesday. The biggest news today coming out of it is Brady's coming out of retirement, going to take over for the Raiders. He will push his ownership to the side, and we're seeing what is he now, 48-year-old man going to go under center. Devontae Adams is so excited. He is just thrilled. I can't believe I get to play with Brady and Rodgers in my career. Probably the only guy that's ever going to get to do that. And yeah, big news. Holy crap.
Okay, so this is real. This is not an AI constructed like story. Like this is real. Like he's actually coming back. Like
I
this is
hope
real.
so. I hope so.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, you know what? Yeah, Devontae Adams should be super happy because I've seen some excerpts from receivers on the Netflix documentary. Check it out. It looks awesome. But he looked like he was extremely frustrated from last year.
Yeah.
I think that frustration is going to literally disappear for this year
I
if
heard
he's
him
gone.
say that they said even if he's a recently retired 48-year-old man, he goes, even if Tom Brady's a 50-year-old 8-year-old man, it's better than what we got. That's pretty rough. I don't even who the hell do they have, but I was shocked to hear that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
No,
that.
I'm kind of making up this story. I just
Okay,
decided
good.
to see what your reaction would be, but I hope Grady comes back, but I guess I hope in a way, I hope not for the Chargers, but it'd be kind of wild to see this old man come back and win another Super Bowl. That'd be incredible.
Well, that would be incredible, but it also would suck for everybody else, especially for Patrick Mahomes. Because
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes would be like, so now you got eight? Okay, this is impossible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is impossible.
I'm glad you brought up Patrick Mahomes because lots of footage coming today out of their camp. There was this one play where he fades back, he gets some pressure, he's running backwards off his back foot, he launches the ball, throws it a touchdown pass to his new receiver, his new shiny toy, Xavier Murphy, I believe the guy's name is. He set a combine record for the fastest 40 in the history of the NFL Combine. And
What was
he's
it?
4.1, I believe it was 4.1. And
Oh, yeah.
so,
Jesus.
yeah, so he caught the ball easily. Mahomes had thrown it. They say that they actually have a lot better pieces this year, and they're the two-time defending Super Bowl champions. So, like the rich get richer, as they say, and it looks like they have a real chance of being the first three-peat.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Wait. Hold on a second. There's one more element that we're missing here that needs to be in play for them to three-peat. Is Travis Kelsey still dating Taylor Swift?
Yeah, so far I think he is. Yeah,
Okay, well, that's a three-peat. Done deal. We're good.
we're good. Yeah, I think they're pretty solidly in there, and yeah,
Yep.
I was pretty shocked to see his the guy. Sorry, I don't know what I said, but his name is Xavier Worthy,
Okay.
and let's see, where is the details on his? Here it is. Yes, he was the 28th overall pick in the draft. He set the NFL Combine record 4.21 40-yard dash. Yeah, set the record 4.2. And yeah, so Kelsey looked
Smoking crack.
good. It's weird to watch the practice because they're wearing those huge bubble helmets and
Yeah.
they look a little bit top heavy and they don't look like they're running full speed, but Kansas City looked fantastic. I liked what I saw from some of the other training camps. The other team that I'm really really excited to see is the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in that backfield. They Baltimore has been the top rushing attack for the past few seasons, but mostly because of Lamar. But imagine being able to keep Lamar a lot healthier, keep him in the pocket, and having Derrick Henry, get those 1,200, 1,300 yards. How much better that's going to make this Baltimore Ravens offense?
Yeah, because you have two guys to worry about back there. And the
Yeah.
one guy is like, I would say out of the two, Lamar's still the more dangerous one.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry can just run you over whenever you're not prepared. So yeah, that backfield would super suck. That sucks.
Yeah, it's insane there. Insane. It's just gonna be shocking to watch that. How do you stop it? I don't know
Yeah.
how you're gonna stop it. But some of the other things that have jumped out at me, Chicago with Caleb Williams, number one overall pick. It was so frustrating for me to see Keenan Allen there catching passes from him. 11 years with my Chargers, and suddenly
They just
there
let
he
him go.
is catching passes in Chicago. Horrible to see, but such a weapon that he has. The Bears have added a ton of talented guys. They got DJ Moore a season ago. They brought in DeAndre Swift into the backfield. Roma
Oh,
Aduze, you talked about him last
yep.
week. They've got a few other. Oh, they got Cole Kmet in there, and they brought in Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator the last couple seasons. Shane Waldron is the new OC there in Chicago. So we'll see what type of scheme he puts together, but tons of weapons now for that Chicago quarterback, and we'll see how Caleb Williams does in his rookie year.
Well, they gave him weapons to work with,
Yeah,
right? So he has the people to pass to. All he needs to do is produce.
yeah. Um, LA Chargers, briefly talked about them. Jim Harbaugh, we'll see what he does. They've got new running backs, new receivers. It's a lot to work on to try to implement and get back going right away. I think they're going to struggle maybe out of the gate, but yeah, I think they're a playoff team, so it'll be nice to see. There's some guys that are kind of holding out, holding in. Jordan Love is kind of in a hold in. He wants a contract extension. He said he will not practice. The team said he will not practice until he does. I don't think they're going to suspend him or fine him for not being at practice. I think they want to protect him as much as he wants to be protected. So he made $10.5 million last year, finally getting off the bench behind Aaron Rodgers. Had a fantastic year, and it really wants to get paid. There's probably going to be $50+ million on a contract for him, but I think they're close with putting that together.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think he proved himself last season.
Yeah,
And is he deserving of the money? Yes, he is. Yes, he most certainly is. So
yeah.
yeah.
Dallas has three key pieces that all want contract extensions. We'll see if they get into some fights with them. Micah Parsons on defense, one of the best guys on the D line on the D side, and then Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, the two biggest weapons they Dallas has on the offensive side. So Jerry's going to have to be crossing some T's and dotting some I's and getting some contract signed so he doesn't run the risk of not having them, for the start of the season.
Okay. Here's a good question. Who do you think he signs first? I'll tell you who I think he signs first. Who he
I would,
absolutely should
I
sign
would do
first.
Micah
Yes,
myself.
Micah.
Yeah,
Definitely. He has to come first. I'm
yeah,
sorry. He's your anchor of your defense. The defense works around him.
yeah,
Got to sign him. It has to happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of their division competitors, Philadelphia, lost a couple key pieces with the retirement of Jason Kelsey, and on the defensive side, the retirement of Fletcher Cox. Both guys are going to be very, very hard to fill.
Yeah, that's those are two key positions that they're going to try to find some new blood to fill that, but where they are right now, that's not going to happen very quickly.
No. I've been watching a bit of the Hard Knocks New York Jets. That's been pretty fun to watch. I recommend tuning it in. They're showing a lot on the NFL Network. And yeah, there's the first game goes August 1st, the Hall of Fame game. That'll be Houston, Chicago, and Houston will be super fun to watch. CJ Stroud, what a fantastic rookie year he had last year, and they've added a lot more weapons for him too.
Yeah, yeah, and the one guy's going to be coming back off of injury, Tank Dell. So
Yeah.
yeah, CJ Stroud, I expect big things from him to be even better in this next year coming up.
Yeah. Okay, turning to the CFL briefly. The BC Lions lost, unfortunately, over the weekend to Calgary yesterday, I guess that was 25-24. It was brutal how bad, how much pressure Vernon Adams had on him. It was seemed like every single solitary snap he rushed back. There was two or three guys in his face. He was throwing pretty inaccurately, and I don't know why. They said the wind there was pretty bad, but it just looked like he wasn't in sync with his receivers. On the run, he was firing it over their head way too often. He was on pace to be close to breaking the all-time CFL record for yardage in a season. His pace was 6,609 yards. Doug Flutie owns the record, 6,619. So he was on that pace, but he only got 172 yards passing yesterday. So that will knock him down. He'll have to have some big 400-yard games to get back on that pace. But um, luckily, BC has a bye week. They can regroup and head into the next part of the season with some rest and hopefully a new game plan. Tough to see them lose to Calgary in such close fashion. The one of the Philprop brothers, he fumbled the ball with about a minute left. One of the defensive players for BC jumped on the ball, and as soon as he went to the ground with it, it squirted out of his arm, went back to Calgary. They got the ball. They were able to grind out the clock, and BC would have had one last chance. Their kicker has not missed a field goal in 42 straight, and so he's pretty automatic. He even
Yeah.
hit a 52-yarder on Sunday, so it's not like chip shots the whole time out of those 42. So tough to see the Lions lose, but as I said, 1 week to get the bye and regroup.
Yeah, and they'll definitely regroup and stuff, and I'm sure at some point in time in their schedule they're going to be playing against the Edmonton Elks.
Yeah.
That should be a good game for them.
Yeah.
Just a guess, just a
Yeah.
guess on my part.
Yeah, that'll be easy peasy, easy. Switching back to basketball briefly, what do you think of LeBron James being the flag bearer for the U.S. Olympic team, the whole entire Olympic team? LeBron's gonna have the flag for the U.S. team.
Yeah, of course. Like,
Okay.
who else was going to do it? Like, so, like I don't know. Like seriously, like who else?
Shot putter or, a break dancer or, sport climber, skateboarder. Like, you had a lot of choices.
Yeah, yeah. No, you didn't. You had LeBron James. It was always going to be LeBron James, and that's just the way it's going to be. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. One signing that was pretty noteworthy today. Spencer Dinwiddie signed with the Dallas Mavericks. Another
Oh,
really key piece for them. Got him on a good deal and we're able to bring him in.
that is a great signing, fantastic signing. It seems that the Mavericks are improving where they had deficiencies in their playoff run, so they're making the right moves.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, two questions for you. First question, who do you think won the golf, the British, it's called the Open Championship in Royal Troon, Scotland. Who would you put your money on that won the championship over there?
Uh, the guy that goes to jail whenever he's in the South is Scheffler. Scheffler.
Yeah, Scotty Handcuffs Scheffler, I call him now. No, but it's close.
Oh,
You're so close.
okay, okay.
If I say you're close to Scheffler, who would it be?
Uh, 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 the Irish guy. Um,
McElroy.
McElroy.
No,
Yes.
no, good guess, but it's not Scheffler, it's Schauffele that won. And
Oh, stop.
yeah,
Okay.
Schauffele. It's just a few different letters in their last name, just a couple
Yeah.
of different ones. But Schauffele, he got his second major of the year. He won the major of the PGA Championship a couple months ago and was
Yeah.
able to get his second major. The PGA Championship was his first major of his career. This one is his second. He came out on the weekend there and had a phenomenal final round. Shot the round of the day, a 65, 6 under, won by 2 shots, and yeah, got the huge victory. And now he's pushing Scotty Scheffler. He's become number 2 in the world, and he's pushing him for Player of the Year. Scheffler's won one major and 6 tournaments, with Xander winning 2 majors. It might actually kind of be a really, really tight race for Player of the Year.
That's awesome because we
Yeah.
haven't had that for a long time. So
No.
that, if it's going to come down to the wire, I hope they make it exciting. Those two.
Yeah,
Good
no, me too.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
The other cool thing is Scheffler is the defending champion. He won the gold medal in the past Olympics, so he's going in as the defending gold medal winner into the Paris Olympics. So be kind of cool to see him. Scheffler's in there too. Two Canada sending a couple of representatives. Every country's got two. I think except the U.S. who has four. So yeah, it's going to be a fun tournament in the Olympics.
Yeah, it's going to be great, man. I exciting. It's going to
Yeah.
be exciting.
Okay, my second question is who do you think won the F1 race in Hungary?
Okay, come on, come on. It's Max Verstappen. That's what he does.
Good guess, but no. And the great thing was he was acting like a young kid that is tired, that didn't get enough sleep. He was acting like a complete jerk. And he ended up causing a crash, ended up flaming out, and ended up falling down and finishing fifth. He supposedly was up late on the night before the race on a racing simulator, basically playing video games till 3 a.m. Woke up
Nice.
super early in the morning, only got a couple hours of sleep or something. Got back on the racing simulator, played it until he had to head to the track. And every single time that they went to him on his microphone in the car, he sounded like a little kid that didn't get enough sleep. He was acting like a twit the entire time. And when he crashed, I actually jumped off the couch and was just like, yes, finally, you idiot. He was acting like a complete asshole. And it was nice to see him get his own. He was trying to cut off Lewis Hamilton and pass him for third place. Hamilton stopped. He locked up his brakes and then he went over top of Hamilton, went out into the gravel, and Hamilton and a couple other guys passed him. And it was awesome. It was nice to see. And amazingly enough, this is amazing. This is the seventh different winner on the F1 series this year. There's been 7 different drivers win a race this season. And this was the 13th race out of 24. And Max has won 7 races, and 6 other guys have all won one. But
Okay.
it's pretty incredible that 7 different guys have actually got a victory so far on this out of the 13 races.
Okay. I actually got a little bit of info from my cousin,
Nice.
friend of the show,
Nice.
who's the F1 guru analyst. He
Sure.
told me that Verstappen no longer has the best car on the circuit.
Yeah.
So basically, he has to use his skills more than rely on the car.
Yeah.
And I think it showed, obviously, in the fact that there's been 7 or 6 other different winners, and he's only won 7 events out
Yeah.
of the events that's happened so far.
Things
So
are
I'm not
changing.
surprised to hear that.
Things are changing. Yeah. McLaren was able to get the pole position, second position, P2. Both started on the front row. Um, Lando Norris had the pole position on the McLaren. Then Oscar Piastri from Australia was in second. on that first corner, Piastri ended up taking over first, and Norris ended up falling down to third place. Verstappen went outside the track and came in and ended up second place. He had to give up the position because you're not allowed to
To
leave
do
the
that.
track to gain a position. Uh, about halfway through the race, they pit stopped Norris, who was in second place at the time with Hamilton chasing him. He ended up getting a pit stop, getting new tires, new gas, filled up with gas. He came out and he ended up passing Piastri, and he had first place. Um, the team started saying to him on the radio, "Oh, you got to let Oscar pass you." Uh, we we um, we have promised him that he's going to finish first because of the way our strategy worked. You ended up coming in first. He should have, but the way we did it's not fair. So you have to let him by. It took them about 25 to 30 laps to convince him to actually slow down enough to let his teammate by. And he finally did with about 2 laps to go. He finally went, "Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay." And he slowed down. Piastri passed him. It was drama though for so long, and they were begging him at first, and then they were kind of guilting him into it. They kept saying things. You kept hearing like a little bit more, hey, like, come on, what are you doing? We told you to slow down and let him by. And he's like, "Well, let the guy catch up on his own. Like, can he catch up? Like, and it was pretty crazy and pretty wild. And it created a lot of controversy because they couldn't believe it. He is second behind. Lando Norris is second in the chase behind Max Verstappen. And because he let his teammate pass him, he finished with 7 less points, which would have helped him get even closer to Max, who finished in fifth place. So it
Right.
was pretty wild watching it as it unfolded. And you weren't sure until he finally just put the brake down if he was going to stop at all and just ignore them fully and just finish first.
Okay. I am not surprised that it took them that long for it to convince him because he's a competitive guy and he wants to
Yeah,
win. Number
there you
one,
go.
first and foremost,
First
right?
and foremost, of course. Yeah.
Secondly, I am surprised to hear that they didn't say, "How much do you want?"
Mm,
That,
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
Buy it from.
I'm surprised you didn't hear
What's
that kind of conversation. It's like, "How much do you want?" It's like, oh, now you're finally saying what I want to hear.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. It was pretty wild. It was pretty interesting to watch. Teammates have to do that with each other, and um now there's harmony. This was Piastri's first win of his career, so it was really huge for him. Lando won a couple weeks ago. It was his first victory ever. McLaren seems to be the team to beat right now. Currently, they are catching up in the constructors standings, right behind Red Bull now, and doing really well. And I think you're right. I don't think Red Bull has that dominant car anymore. And so Verstappen's going to have to prove himself if he's the better driver.
Yeah, definitely. Verstappen will have to prove himself. He'll have to prove his skills. And by the way, the cousin that I'm talking about is Cameron F1. You can catch him on YouTube.
Yeah,
Excellent analysis of
fantastic.
F1.
I love it. Yeah, I watch it as often as I can, and he's amazing. He knows his stuff. There's not anybody on the planet that knows more than this guy. So if you're into F1, watch it. You'll be very, very entertained. Okay, speaking of teammates having fights and stuff, the Toronto Indy happened this past weekend. I lost a lot of steam on the Indy race car circuit and seasons when we lost our race here in Vancouver. Did you go to some of the Indies when we had it here?
Yes, I
Yeah,
went to two, and
nice.
it was a great event.
It's
Great event.
amazing. It was fantastic. I definitely lost steam and don't watch it as much as I used to, but I watched this race. It was very entertaining. About 6 or 7 laps from the end, two guys were fighting. They were teammates. Will Power crashed his teammate Scott McLaughlin into the barricade and the fence, killed his race. He was out of the race, and those guys ended up having close to going to blows. after. It was pretty wild to see those teammates having a yeah, not a fun afternoon. And yeah, the guy ended up pushing his teammate right off the track. It was pretty wild.
Sometimes you got to win by any means necessary. And on top of that, yeah, I know he's my teammate. Does it matter? Get out of the way.
Stay out of the way. Yeah. There was two other things that'll be very known for this race. Um, Colton Herta won for the first time in 2 years. He hadn't won since May of 2022. First win in 41 races. The second thing was there was a crash. 13 laps to go. Pato O'Ward ended up coming around the corner, spinning out, and ended up crashing his car into the fence backwards. Another car came around the corner and hit him on the side, and immediately the Indy officials should have thrown a yellow flag up, should have thrown a red flag or a yellow flag up to stop the race cars from coming around the corner. Another couple came around the corner. One came around the corner, smoked him, went over him. The second guy went flipping right over his car, smashed his car into the side fence, and flipped upside down on his top and slid across, blew his car apart, the guy that was sitting there on the track. And I think ended up 5 cars ended up crashing in this crash. And it was brutal that they didn't immediately stop these cars from coming around this corner. They couldn't see him when they first took the corner and fucking just crashed severely into the guy. And luckily, nobody got hurt or killed. It was brutal.
Wow. Okay, so there's going to be some hard questions being asked because
Yeah,
you can't have that happen. You
not at all.
cannot have that happen, man. Like
No.
how how could that? If you look at the replay, they had time to throw out the flags, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That can't happen again.
Yeah, they better
Can't
do an
happen again.
investigation because yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
could be
bad.
talking about a tragedy for
Yeah.
sure. These guys are flying and to see the one guy go up,
Go up.
hit the fence, it could have spent, shattered debris all over the fans, and then
Yeah.
to go upside down and his
Yeah.
car was obliterated. The guy that kept getting hit by cars, just imagine
Yeah.
sitting there and seeing cars coming at you and smoking you over and over, like so brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he's on the rail saying, "No, no, no,
Yeah,
the
no doubt. Yeah, I'd be screaming my ass off for sure. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's break down the UFC. We had a smaller UFC card this past weekend. Back at the Apex, we had a second week in a row where we had a female main event. This was a battle between two Brazilians in the strawweight division. Came in. It was a one of those classic battles with the striker versus the grappler, and I thought that was smart of them. Number 3 against number 5 in the division. And yeah, not sure how this was going to play out. Verna Jandaroba had 13 submissions coming in, and Amanda Lemos had 8 knockouts. So I was hoping. I'm the striker guy. I don't like the ground game as much. So I was definitely hoping for Lemos, but Jandaroba ended up getting a fantastic victory. Tried for the rear naked choke for quite a while, and then finally just transitioned to an armbar, got the tap, and got the win.
And it was a beautiful transition at that. Like,
Yeah.
like she masked it with like going for the rear naked choke, go for the rear naked choke, and then when she grabbed that arm, it was over. It
Yeah.
was over.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say about this fight: Lemos did not respect Jandaroba's ground game enough.
No.
She kept playing with her where
Yeah.
she didn't need to. What
Yeah.
she should have done
Kept
was
space. Yeah.
get clear space, get
Kept
off
her
the
at
ground,
distance. Yeah, she could have kept her at
kept
distance. She even took the fight to the ground a couple times herself.
time for herself.
Yeah.
She did not respect her ground game. That's why she lost.
Yeah.
Because Jandaroba, she literally played her game to her strengths. That was the only way that she was probably going to be able to beat you was on the ground.
Yeah.
And you willingly went down there where you had all the advantage on your feet. You were the stronger fighter, stronger striker, the more powerful striker, the faster striker, but you played her game. I think that's a lot of ego, and then she paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen other fighters do this. Think they can beat them at their own game, but she shouldn't have went there. And you're right, paid the price. I think this gives her a title shot now. I think she deserves a title shot, and I think when you look at the strawweight rankings, I think it's a no-brainer. She's right there, number three.
Yep.
And Yan Jonan is ahead of her, but already had that title shot
Top
UFC
five.
300 in April.
Yep.
So I think she should be next.
Yeah, and also too, Wei Li Zhang. I think she's pretty much taken out most of everybody else.
Yeah,
Jandiroba, she's never fought.
the only fighter out of the top, I think seven that she hasn't fought also
Yeah.
is Tatiana Suarez, but
Yeah,
Suarez is just behind her in the rankings right now. So
yeah.
why go there? I think Jandiroba didn't take any damage that she
Nope.
is going to need to recover for. So let's book this fight for 3-4 months from now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, I think Jandiroba has earned her shot against Wei Li, and should be an entertaining fight if it happens.
That's her four straight win. Wei Li has four straight wins. Tatiana has six straight, but as I said, she's behind her in the rankings. Uh, right behind her is Jessica Andrade and Lemos just flips. They go three to five there. So yeah, I think Jandiroba deserves it. And yeah, it should be a pretty interesting fight between those two, Wei Li and her. Uh, the co-main event ended up very interesting. I talked about this as we did the preview last week. It was weird to see three South Koreans on this card. Not really sure why. Maybe this card originally was supposed to be over there, but
Yeah.
one of the guys on the card came in, and he was actually the favorite to beat Steve Garcia. This is Sting Choi Seung Hu, Choi Sung Hu, I guess you say it, and Steve Garcia. Holy
Holy
cow!
cow.
Wow, this was a spectacular knockout. He ended up getting a 50K bonus for it. He ended up landing a left hook that wobbled him, another
Yeah.
couple shots that dropped him, and then he just had to ground and pound him until Dean stepped in there and stopped it for him. Very impressive. They went toe to toe. There was a bit of
Yep.
scrambles in the beginning, a little bit of clinch work, and then
Yeah.
once they just started throwing, it was toe to toe, and Garcia was the one that landed some very, very big shots.
Garcia landed huge shots. I thought this fight was going to be a little bit more competitive,
Yeah.
but it ended pretty quick, man. Like I was impressed. I was impressed with Garcia's power. I didn't necessarily know that he had that in him. That was impressive.
Yeah.
I was
Well, he right now holds the active UFC active streak, though, regardless of weight divisions, for the four knockouts in a row. No other fighter has
Yep.
four KOs in a row, so that's fantastic. He's actually third on the active finish streak in the UFC, regardless of divisions. He's tied four in a row with Bruno Silva, who we're going to talk about on this card as well. Carlos Ulberg and Joe Anderson Brita have five finishes in a row, and Shavkat Rakhmonov has six. So yeah, he's joining some elite company and really deserved that 50K. Came in and did really great. He called out 50K Dan Ige, which will be great. We talked about Ige a couple weeks ago. Came in on that
Yep.
short notice and tough as hell, and that'll be a fight I'll sign up for any day. And he also called up Daniel Cormier, wants to play 18 holes of golf with him. Cormier said, "I'll kick your ass. You're done. No chance, buddy." Yeah, I liked hearing that when Cormier was in the cage.
Yeah, no, that was actually pretty good. That was good. I like both call outs. Hopefully they make that Ige fight because
Yeah,
that's a good call out.
that's gonna
That'd be
be
a great
amazing.
fight.
Yeah. The Kurt Holobaugh fight against Kenan Khrushchevsky, really gritty, super tough fight, back and forth brawl.
North. No.
These guys threw so many shots. Um, Holobaugh was just a bit busier.
Yes.
He ended up throwing over the total 15 minutes. He threw 80 more punches. He landed about 55 more, and it was just a knock him down, drag him out war, though. Ended up getting a unanimous decision, 2 rounds to one, 29-28 on the scorecards, and I thought it was a just decision. I thought Hollowell just did enough to win.
Yeah, I thought he just did enough to win. I thought his grappling was on point, and then also too, I thought more than anything, his endurance was what outlasted
Yeah,
Krzyzewski. Like he had the better endurance. And the
cardio
one
was
thing
good.
about Hollowell, when you fight that guy, you got to fight him right to the end.
Yeah,
He's not going anywhere, and he's going to be in your face for the entirety of the entire fight.
yeah, his
Entire
cardio
fight.
was great, and it was great to see his family cage side.
Yeah,
He's one of the only guys I've heard for a really long time say good things about the Apex because he said, "Hey, I can't get my family front row when I'm at another arena. Here they are
yeah.
at the Apex." You could hear his one son just
God,
screaming advice
David.
to him throughout the
Yeah,
fight, and I think that kept him really motivated as well.
yeah. You know what? And I've never thought of it that way. I
Yeah,
thought that was a different perspective. I respect that,
yeah,
and also too with the mere fact that it costs a lot of money to get in the front row with your family.
yeah,
Like it's not every day that the UFC just says, "Oh yeah, we'll give your whole family like that," because he's got 3 kids. We'll
yeah.
give all 5 of them front row. Like no, man, that doesn't usually happen like that.
No,
So with the Apex, with yes, it there's a lot of things we don't like about it, but that I do appreciate. That
yeah,
I like it.
yeah. Um, I've heard a couple other fighters say similar things, but I've also heard them say, they can hear the corner a bit better.
Yeah,
I think I heard another fighter say that on this card, but
yeah.
usually it's criticism because the electricity and the
City,
you
the
know
fans,
the sheer volume of the crowd in there just adds so much more. But yeah, it was nice to see that he got his family front row, and they seem to help him when they're he's more of a grappler to me, so it was interesting to see him winning at stand
stand.
up. Landed a
Yeah,
lot of really really strong elbows and seemed to
yeah.
be very crisp. He wasn't as stiff as I've normally seen him in stand up.
No, he's definitely worked on his stand up game because I was pretty impressed.
Yeah,
Stand up looked really, really good.
yeah, I'm very good. Okay. I mentioned 50K before. There's another 50K fight in this fight. Bulldog Bruno Silva just used a perfectly timed uppercut to
Uppercuts. Yeah,
knock out the mouthpiece, knock out the sense, and put Cody Durden down. A few elbows and some grounded pound smashing into the corner. Ended up
yep.
getting him the win. He was behind in this fight and was having a
Oh,
hard time finding the range. Was being outpointed and beat up in a lot of ways, and just used that perfect uppercut to get him this win.
perfect counter uppercut because Durden was clearly winning this fight.
Yep.
Clearly winning this fight until he
Yep.
was not winning the
No.
fight. Silva had some great belief in himself, obviously, hung in there and waited for his opportunity, took full advantage when it was there.
Yeah.
Apparently, though, there was a little bit of bad blood between these two
Yeah.
because they were former sparring
Sparring
partners.
partners. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when they got called out, there was a lot of animosity there between the two. Didn't like it, my tricks, yada yada. And you know what? At the end of the day, one of you's got to lose.
Yeah.
One of you's got to lose, and one of you's got to win. And Silva found a way to win, and he really did because
Yeah.
he was going to lose that fight with the way it was going.
He's now got 4 straight finishes, as I mentioned earlier. He's beat some tough guys: Tyson Nam, Victor Rodriguez, JP Bays, and yeah, looks really good doing so. Um, he said he wants to change his name to Bonus Bulldog Silva now, and so that would be a good change. Hopefully, he goes and legally gets a change. That would be nice. He called out Brandon Moreno. I think that's a stretch. He will take over number 14 in the rankings as Durden was there, so he's broken into the top 15. I think yeah, that's too high up to call
Yeah,
out, but I guess shoot your shot.
yeah, you shoot your shot and stuff, but I'm hoping for Silva. Maybe this next step up in competition is someone close to the top 10. Maybe not in the top 10 exactly, but like getting close to there.
Yeah. Okay, another Korean was on this fight. The Korean Superboy, Do Hoi Choi, back in the cage. He's only had one fight in the past 4 years, so really haven't seen him. He fought to a draw with Kyle Nelson back in February 23. Hadn't fought since 2019 before that. So he's a Hall of Famer. A massive fight with Cub Swanson, where I was present actually in the arena, and one of the best fights I've ever seen live. Nice to see him back and with the Korean Zombie in his corner, who was
Yeah.
his childhood hero. And he was having a great fight back and forth with Algio. Algio tried another spinning elbow, got hit in the eye, and had a delayed reaction to it, and it just something happened. I don't know if he broke his orbital or what, but it ended up putting him to his knees. Choi just had to come in, land 1, 2 shots, and Herb Dean came in again and stopped this fight.
Yeah, yeah. That's all it took. I kind of thought possibly a broken orbital just because of the reaction that he had, the delay in it,
Yeah,
where it was like he noticed the punch and then is like, oh no, I took way more damage than I thought it was,
yeah,
and that's why it forced him to take a knee. And I don't think there's any shame in that. That sometimes you got to know it's like, oh no, no, I'm seriously hurt, or maybe this is something more than what I initially thought it was.
yeah,
And so to protect yourself, that's it, done.
yeah. That was it. They were very thrilled. The whole Korean contingent was there. We're super happy, and it's great to see a guy that hasn't been able to get in there for many reasons: fight cancellations, injuries, also some commitments to the military that every Korean has to do. So
Yeah.
nice to see him get back in the winning streak and or get back in the winning circle and get a much needed one.
Yeah, no, it was great to see him do well. And the other thing that I really appreciate with Troy watching him back in there against Algia was just his poise.
Yeah,
Always super calm.
yeah.
Never panicked once in that fight.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Okay, we got another 50K bonus coming out of this fight. And I think sometimes I think these guys' nicknames don't really suit them, but this nickname for Hyder Emil Hurricane really suited him from this fight because he unleashed an absolute hurricane.
A punch.
He started throwing. I think they said it was a 38
You
punch
ate straight.
combination,
Yeah.
and that he ended up taking out the other South Korean, Young Lee, and holy cow! Once he started swinging, it was like Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
It was just let's go, let's go, and I can't believe how many shots he took, and he didn't actually fall. He actually
No.
got caught before he was gonna fall. It was pretty fun to watch.
No, no. I loved it because eventually it was as if both fighters said, "Yeah, okay, then let's go. Let's do it right now." Bang,
Yeah,
bang, 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 bang. And Emil was just the more accurate guy.
yeah,
I will say this though, I was super impressed with the fact that Lee was still standing. I
yeah.
don't know how the
How
heck he did that. I don't know who was holding him up. I like obviously he had God on his side because there is no way that he should have still been standing in the
I know
octagon.
that was
None.
shocking, wasn't it? Just unreal. Like, yeah, he took so many
So
flush
many
shots and
punches.
holy crap. It's incredible. Yeah, it was a very, very great win for him and love to see it. Another 50K. I don't remember seeing a 38 punch combo ever
Nope.
before. So yeah,
The
good
first.
on him. Yeah, he was happy because he said he had never fought an Asian fighter. Lee had won the Road to Asia. He's actually has a Filipino background, and he said it was really nice to get an opportunity to test himself against another Asian fighter and got the win. 2-0 in the UFC and never looked better. He got a decision on the Dana White Contender Series to put him in. Won his last fight, and then this one really should elevate him up the roster for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely it's gonna elevate him. Exciting fight.
Yeah. Okay, let's blast through the prelims. Cody Gibson, nice arm triangle choke victory. After there was an attempt at a guillotine choke that didn't work. Once Gibson was able to get onto the ground, he didn't even have to go onto the side. He was able to
Yeah.
still really secure that arm triangle choke in and get a tie.
Yeah. He dominated this fight. He dominated this fight from the beginning to the end. Kelleher didn't really have a chance, and also too, Gibson really used his physicality in this fight because that dude is massive for that weight class. Absolutely
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, he is really big. Yeah. Huge elbow seemed to kind of be the beginning of the end that sort of started the whole thing and got the victory. He trains now in Vegas, and he said it's been just such a huge advantage. He's fighting or training with Aljamain Sterling there and Patchy Mix and a few other guys like that. So nice victory for Cody Gibson. Miranda Maverick got a decision win. I thought she was super dominant. She's on a 3 fight win streak, and she just seems like, yeah, she's on her way and really, becoming one of those fighters you can pretty much count on to give great performances every time.
Yeah, her grappling was on point, and whenever there was a scramble between the two ladies, it seemed that she was always the one coming out on top because she was out hustling her opponent
Yeah,
every time.
yeah. Trey Ogden got a nice victory. He was able to outstrike Radzhabov, took him down 4 times, got a unanimous decision. Pretty dominant performance. Tried for a arm triangle choke in the second round. Thought he was definitely going to get it. Somehow, Radzhabov was able to survive it, but yeah, it was still Ogden was the better fighter on this night.
Ogden was definitely the better fighter. His timing on his takedowns was on point.
Yeah,
Always caught Radzhabov coming forward. So the timing of his takedowns was what definitely won him this fight because Radzhabov, to his credit, continued to put pressure, continued to move forward, but the takedown defense just wasn't where it needed to be.
true. Carolina easily beat Lucy Padalova. I thought she won all 3 rounds. 3 fight win streak. She definitely outstruck her big time. The significant strikes were 94 to 43. I was really shocked to hear after the fight that she had a broken foot only a month ago, and she still decided to take on this fight and didn't look like it slowed her down at all.
Yeah, Connor, did you hear that? Mr. Conor McGregor, you hear that? Ladies can fight with a broken foot. You can't fight with a broken toe. Cool. Anyways, yeah,
Good
Carolina looked
point.
really good.
Yeah,
And Pudlova, unfortunately, she seemed very hesitant to me in that
yeah,
fight. And
true.
like she just wasn't trusting herself. But Carolina looked good. Great win.
Yeah. And the first fight of the night, Thomas Peterson won by decision over big Muhammad Usman. Dominated all 3 rounds. Very big, easily outstruck him, took him down. This is a guy that's sometimes hasn't had the cardio that I thought he should have. I thought this was probably his best performance ever, and beating a really super tough guy in Usman.
Yeah, beating a very super tough guy in Usman. And I do need to say this: Usman needs to work on that cardio.
Yeah,
Cardio is not where it needs to be. And
no,
I think he realizes that, he knows that, and his brother should be working with that on that with him diligently
yeah.
because
Yeah.
that needs to improve.
It's his
That definitely
muscle.
needs to
He
improve.
has just so much muscle that it's
Yeah,
just sucking the oxygen out of him fast,
yeah,
And
yeah.
he gets gassed way too quick. And Peterson called out Chael Sonnen. I don't know how that's going to work, but should be interesting to see. Okay, let's break down 304 quickly. Can't wait for this card. Absolutely stacked. Coming out of Manchester, England. The UFC's being a bit of bastards and they're putting it at our normal time. They're forcing them to fight 3, 4 in the morning, which is kind of stupid and shitty,
Yeah.
but that's what they're doing to try to get the maximum pay-per-view dollars and best viewing possibilities over here in this country, but or in this continent. It's going to be fun though. Manchester, England, UFC 304, 2 title fights. The main event and the co-main event are really very similar. They have some rematches happening. The first one goes in the main event goes in the welterweight division with Leon Rocky Edwards being the champion, facing Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad. They're doing a rematch from March of 2021 when
I poke.
Bilal got an accidental eye poke that
Yes.
rendered him unable to continue.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 18 seconds into that second round. Severe eye poke, could not fight again. Ended up becoming a no contest. Leon has gone 4-0 since this fight. He won the belt. He defended the belt twice since and has become the guy on the top of the mountain. Bilal has won 5 fights since that and has looked super incredible since. He's the number 2 pound for pound guy in this division. And he's beat super tough guys. He's built Gilbert Burns, Sean Brady, Vincente Luque, Wonderboy Thompson, and a few others. And this could be a hell of a great fight. I'm actually thinking that it could go 5 rounds in a real bloody war.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an ultimate war. And I think both of these men know that. I think they're going to be supremely conditioned and ready for this one.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that the time doesn't affect them as
yeah,
much
yeah.
because, like you said, that's not great.
It's not
That's not
cool.
great for any of
No,
the fighters on this card.
no,
Not great at all.
no. Sucks for everyone, but yeah, the fighters for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to just change your whole thing. And especially in the summertime,
Yeah.
it's laid out so much later, you're gonna have to
Yeah.
try to black it out and keep it quiet. And it's gonna be rough for them. So I
Yeah.
hope it doesn't change how these fights turn out. Leon had one of the greatest moments in UFC history when in the fifth round he head kicked Kamaru Usman, knocked him out, and took the belt. He defended it against Kamaru Usman to prove that it wasn't a fluke. And then
Yeah.
he beat Colby Covington to defend it again. As I mentioned, Bilal has won. He's actually won 9 in a row outside that no contest that happened um, in that fight. He hasn't lost since he lost to Jeff Neal back in 2019. Leon hasn't lost since back in 2015 when he lost to Kamaru, their very first fight of that trilogy they had. So, yeah, it's going to be great. I'm kind of hoping that Leon wins this. Just I don't know, sort of selfish ways in a way, but um, because Bilal Muhammad is Palestinian, I'm worried that he's going to take the mic and say some things that might not go over well with that Palestinian war with Israel. It's sort of it really separating a lot of people in this world, and it's causing a lot of issues. I hope if he does win that he won't go political at all and stay away from that.
Ah, you know what? You never know. You never know what any of these guys are going to say. But what I will say is, whatever he does, he'll be true to himself when he does say it.
Yeah.
So, and it'll be his right to take the mic. But I will also say this: whatever he decides to say, it won't be as bad as Mr. Jesus Boy, whenever he takes the mic. You know what I'm talking about? What does that dude's name? You know what? I don't even want to say his name because he might just come onto the podcast all of a sudden and start spouting off about like Jesus Christ and the Lord our Savior, blah blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So that's what I will say about that. And going for the co-main event,
Oh man.
Aspinall and Blades,
Yeah.
that the rematch because Aspinall blew out his knee in their first one, so it wasn't really much of anything.
Exactly.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
That's gonna be good because we didn't get to really see the fight.
No.
This time, this time we're gonna get to see them fight.
Yeah.
I'm looking
It
forward to that.
it lasted 15 seconds the first time when
Yeah,
till Aspinall blew out his knee. So yeah, we got totally robbed. That was in July of 2022. Uh Both guys have been absolutely phenomenal outside of that fight. Aspinall's 7-1 in the UFC, and he hasn't lost outside that Blades fight since 2016. Blades is super well known for his wrestling in his post or his pre UFC career. He was
Yep.
great in high school and college, but he's won by KO 13 times with his 18-4 record. He lost to Sergey Pavlovich, who Aspinall took the belt or won the belt against. They had the interim belt
Yep.
fight, and he
Yep.
beat Pavlovich. Those are the guys that have, they fought the same guy, and Pavlovich beat Blades. Blades' last fight, though, was really impressive when he kicked the crap out of Gelton Almeida.
Yes.
That really blew my mind and really made me think that he is ready for even bigger competition.
I think this is going to be a great fight.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be a knockout, drag out war, and it's has the potential to be one of the best fights on the card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Both guys are great, great, great.
great,
Top
top of the
heavyweights, and
line.
it's
Yeah,
incredible. The crowd's gonna be really happy in Manchester because Paddy the Baddy is on the card. He's back and he's fighting the newly crowned King Green. No more Bobby, it's King. He legally changed his name, and we love Bobby Green. He has had an up and down UFC career. I think 13-10 in the UFC, but one has won three of his last four, and is one of the hardest guys to fight because he's so unorthodox. Uses his hands down and throws punches from his head, from his waist, and a lot of guys have a hard time fighting Bobby Green. Usually in a Bobby Green fight, he's getting knocked out or he's knocking somebody out, and so I expect that there's going to be a KO in this one.
it's always going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
If King Green is in this fight, you know it's going to be entertaining. You know it's must see. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to seeing just how much Pimblett has improved.
Yeah.
Because last time we saw him in the octagon, he was better than the time he was in there before.
Yeah.
Probably the best version we've seen. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see an even better version this time around.
I have never thought that Patty was very experienced. He was super tough. He would take a few shots early on and it seemed to wake him up, and he would throw some crazy haymakers and shots and win. He is 5-0 in the UFC, but I don't think in most of those fights he looked super great. And that's why you hear his name on the people's lists, on their lips when they exit a fight. Patty the Batty, I want you. And he's
Yeah.
been called out by so many fighters, but King called him out and is getting his wishes here. And yeah, I fully expect this to be a great war. But I have been impressed that Pimblett has seemed like he's been really training hard and getting better every single time out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. He
yeah,
has been getting better every single time out. It's going to be a great fight.
yeah. Okay. The Punisher, Mohammed Makayev fighting this Manal Kape should be a heck of a fight too. Both ranked flyweights. Uh, Makayev is 12-0. What am I saying his name? Uh,
Kaya. Kaya is
Makayev,
12-0.
12-0, number five ranked, and Manal Kape is 19-6 and number eight ranked. Four wins in a row for Kap, and Makayev undefeated as always. He beat Alex Perez last time. He's 6-0 in the UFC and has beat a lot of super tough guys. I would be quite afraid of Makayev. I'm giving him the nod in this one, I think.
I think so too. I think he remains undefeated. It's going to be a tough fight for Kape. Like he's definitely going to have to be on it. His takedown defense is going to have to be on point
Yeah.
because if Makayev manages to take him down, then it's going to be an even easier fight, I believe, for Makayev.
Yeah, he was born in Dagestan, but he's been raised in Manchester, so he'll have the Dagestani grappling, wrestling, but he'll also have that Manchester crowd behind him because he's spent many years there. So yeah, he's in for a fun night, I'm sure. Arnold Allen should be a hell of a great battle. Always love seeing Arnold Allen fighting Giga Chikadze. Both these guys are super tough, and yeah, should be a hell of a great way to kick off the main card.
Yeah, great opener.
Yeah.
to start off the UFC 304. Looking very much forward to it.
I can't believe how many great fights, even on the prelims on this card. This is a super, super stacked card that, yeah, I really wasn't, yeah, I kind of wasn't looking so far ahead. And then when I started looking at it the last couple of days, realizing, holy cow, there are, so many fights that I can't wait to see.
Yeah, it's going to be a great UFC card. They put together a really strong one, strong pay per view that I'm definitely looking forward to. I can't wait to watch.
Molly Meatball McCann, there again, which is yeah, such a such a big draw for the English fans. Lots of Nathaniel Wood, big English fighter there. Mick Perrin, that heavyweight, he's there. Callan Lachlan. Even in early prelims, who did I see? I saw some great. Oh yeah, Christian Leroy Duncan against Gregory Rodriguez. That should
Yes,
be a heck of a fight. And Modestas Bukauskas against Marcin Prachnio just
no,
kick off the early prelims. That's pretty amazing.
that's pretty good, man. Great
Yeah.
lineup, strong.
Okay, man, I love it. Thanks so much for coming in late and doing it. Really had a lot of fun. It was great to break it down and yeah, get some sleep. Have a fantastic week ahead and yeah, hopefully you get a good chance to see this card. I'm glad it's a better time for us, but yeah, I'm really feeling kind of pissed off that they screw the fighters and all the fans over there. Imagine having a show up to the arena that late and go all through the night too. That's not going to be fun for the fans.
No, no, it's not going to be a lot of fun at all. But yeah, I guess the UFC just said, well, oh, sorry, yeah, we don't care. So, but we do care about our North American audience. So yes, you guys, it's all about you, which means
Yeah,
us.
yeah. I never
Yeah,
asked her about your shirt. I say it says I love it when what's below it?
I love it when a plan comes together.
Oh,
18.
okay, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it. Yeah, that's a great shirt.
yeah. Well, thank you very much. That's all I do. I only wear the best on this show. Only the best.
Good. Okay, buddy. All the best. Have a great night. We'll talk soon.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Cheers. Bye for now. Okay. Well, I think I covered a bit of that earlier before Jason tuned in. And then oh yeah, I was gonna make two notes. The Whitecaps lost a heartbreaker on the weekend. They were down 2-0. They roared back with three goals and took a 3-2 lead. Fafa Picault ended up getting a couple goals and one assist. Then Vancouver collapsed again, allowed two goals and lost 4-3. That kept them in fifth place in the conference. They had won three in a row heading into that, so kind of disappointing. They're sitting in fifth place with 38 points, just 1 point ahead of Houston and Seattle, and two ahead of Portland. So teams really close together chasing them. They have an opportunity to get maybe up against Colorado. They're only 3 points back of Colorado and fourth with two games in hand. So hopefully they can, yeah, take on that. Unfortunately, they will play LAFC coming up next after their next opponent against Wrexham. I'll talk about that in a second. LA Galaxy sits first in the conference, LAFC second. And yeah, Vancouver will be playing them, their next opponent in the MLS. But Vancouver's next game is this coming Saturday, July 27th, 4:30 kickoff against Wrexham, the team that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney own and have really increased the popularity that FX documentaries docu-series covering them. They are the oldest pro soccer team in Wales, started in 1864. It's the third oldest continuous soccer team in the world. And they have been promoted two separate times over the past few years. That the last two seasons that the Ryan and Rob have owned them, they are now in the third tier of English football and moved right up the rank. If you haven't watched that, Ted Lasso was fantastic. I hope you loved it. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Wrexham even took it that much further because it was actually true and real and happening, not a scripted show. So it'd be fun to watch. The tickets have been reduced quite a bit. I looked a few weeks back, and the lowest ticket you could find was $100, and they were going up to about 300-400 bucks. Today I looked, and there was a lot of tickets available for 60. And then the highest ticket that I could find was 240. So you decide if you want to go. It doesn't look like it's super well attended quite yet, so there might be some ability to see it at a very reasonable price. But yeah, I'm hoping to go check it out. So I did win some tickets to a concert event that's happening around the same time. So maybe not. Anyway, I did want to mention MLB. There was two rocket home runs yesterday, one from Shohei Ohtani, one from Jorge Soler, both about 475 feet. And I thought to myself, wow, like the one from Ohtani left the Dodger Stadium in Chavez Ravine. And I thought, wow, that must be one of the longest home runs in history. And then I looked and it wasn't even in the top 20. I saw the list and I was just stunned and shocked. Babe Ruth has the longest home run in the history of the game at 575 feet, so over 100 feet longer. Mickey Mantle, a lot of old veterans back there. I don't know if how they exactly figured it out back in the 20s when Babe Ruth hit that. I don't know. Maybe those are false, false distances. But the top 20 were all 500 and plus. And so, yeah, I guess these guys got to even hit it farther. I'm shocked, but because those two balls look like they were hit farther than I had ever seen any ball hit before. But okay. Oh yeah, just two hockey notes. Canucks signed forward Daniel Sprong over the week. He came out of Detroit. There was a lot of speculation that he was going to get a contract from someone worth between $3 and $4 million. He signed for less than $1 million with the Canucks for a 1 year deal, 975K. Coming in at 27 years old, he's played 344 NHL games. He's bounced around quite a bit. Last year, he played the most games he's ever played in an NHL season, 76 games. He had 43 points with 18 goals, 25 assists. I think he's great third liner. I think he'll be a good addition. Seemed like he had finally figured some things out. A little bit of defensive liability, but we'll see when Rick Tocchet takes him over how he'll be. He played with Pittsburgh, Anaheim, Washington, Seattle, and Detroit last year, so he has bounced around, but 27 years old. Nice to get a guy in for less than $1 million. That seems to be a steal and another great pickup by Patrick Allvin. And the last NHL note, uh, Dean Evison with a lot of BC roots here, playing in the Western Hockey League as a youngster, and then actually coaching the Kamloops Blazers, Vancouver Giants, and being a guy that's spent a ton of time here in BC in the hockey world. He played 800 games in the NHL, scored 139 goals, 233 assists for 372 points, and he had 1,000 penalty minutes. Longtime coach, as I said, Giants, Blazers, and Calgary Hitmen in the Western Hockey League. Milwaukee, longtime coach in the AHL, and then 250 games over parts of 5 seasons in Minnesota. Got fired early last year with a tough start. But Dean Evison, great guy. Really good that he's back in the NHL that quickly and didn't have to take a long hiatus away from the game. I think it was a good move by the Columbus Blue Jackets who got it. I didn't say that off the hop. Golf note, the CPKC Women's Open takes place in Calgary at the Earl Grey Golf Course. First time ever there. Thursday is the opening round. The fan favorite is Brooke Henderson, obviously. She calls it her sixth major, being able to play here in Canada in front of her home country. She's has lots of fantastic things this season. Six top tens, second most under par rounds, She's eighth in the standings for the CME Cup. And yeah, I can't wait to see her. We'll get a lot of footage and uh, action out of, I think on TSN, so we'll be able to watch a lot there. And I think that will end it for tonight. Oh, I forgot to ask Jason what he thought of Jake Paul knocking out Mike Perry. I thought Mike Perry actually had a really legitimate shot to get this victory, and Jake Paul, I think, I just saw highlights. I didn't see the fight live. I was somewhere else, so unfortunately, I can't comment totally. But from the highlights I saw, he had Mike Perry on wobbly legs quite a bit. Had knocked him down a few times, and finally ended it in 6 rounds when the referee said, "Hey, show me you can walk to the side," and Perry just staggered, and that was it. Called the fight, and unfortunately, this might keep Jake Paul thinking of fighting Mike Tyson. I don't want to see it, and I hope it doesn't happen. I'm most people, I'm in the same majority where we don't want to see 60-year-olds fight, almost 60-year-old Mike Tyson fight, even though he's one of the greatest fighters of all time and a badass beyond belief. Yeah, selfishly, I don't want to see that. So. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you had a really fantastic time watching and listening, and we will see you again next week soon. Just want to thank Anchor.fm, Verbero, Pampas and Possibilities, and oh, aloe vera. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much to Forever Living. Sorry, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. Appreciate your support, and we will yeah, keep it rolling. So have a great week ahead, and we will talk soon. Love you. Take care. Bye for now.